looks like you saw your husband. That's what we're going to talk about, a little bit of the pre-war life in Poland. A little bit about what happened.
Well, I was very young, of course, when I was 19 years old, 18, 18, when the war started. And the day when it started, I was in the street walking with a friend of mine. And the sirens were on, and we started running. And we knew right away the planes overhead, and we knew the war started.
Had you heard any rumors before that things were going to happen?
Yes, but we didn't know that it's going to be that close and so fast, because the war didn't last too long in Poland. After 5 days, the war was over.
Had you
And
heard?
the Germans came in with their tanks, and that's when it started with us, when we were
Had you
hiding and they were killing people, and it was right away just pitiful. It was the beginning of New Year's, the Jewish community, and they were catching the Jews, and they cut their beards, and they told them to clean the streets, and it was right away so impossible. We were just not people anymore. We were just scared like animals.
Where was your family at this time?
We were all together. We were 9 kids.
9 children.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. 9
And
of
I
you?
was the second one.
Second youngest or oldest?
No, the oldest.
Oh.
And we were all together till it was time to go into the ghetto. And we did the best what we could. In fact, my brother planted some vegetables in the garden so we could have some food, and it wasn't too bad till they sent us to Lodz ghetto. Then it started. We came to the ghetto and we saw dead people walking around. We knew that this is our end, this won't. But then everything was again. They started sending us to work. Each one received another. I was working in a ladies' clothes factory, and my father had a job, and everybody got a little something to. We didn't get paid, but we got food for working. Every week we could go to the grocery and get so much for each person in the family. It wasn't never enough, because people drank a lot to fill themselves up because they were hungry. Mm-hmm. So all you saw was swollen people walking around in the streets. And this was about 2 years like that, from 42 till 44.
Then from there,
They sent us to Auschwitz.
your family was together until that moment.
One brother got killed going from Pabinitz to Lodz. They asked for people who would like to help with the kids or do something good. So he was about 2 years young. He was about 16 years old. And he wanted to help out. So they took quite a few men to help. And then they found out that they all got shot and killed together with the old people. They were supposed to be helping, but that's when we lost my brother. So we came to Lodz. He volunteered. Then when we came to Lodz, we were one less in the family. And then when they sent us to Auschwitz, we were still together, but then they separated us. I never saw my mother and my other sisters anymore.
Who survived?
4 sisters and a brother. My brother survived in Sweden. He got sick in Bergen-Belsen, and they sent him to a hospital in Sweden. And the 4 sisters, we were together in camp, all 4 of us.
All 4 of you were together in Auschwitz. And you
No, we
survived.
didn't stay long in Auschwitz.
You went
They
to
sent us.
Mauthausen.
No, they sent us to Freiburg. That's in Bayern, near Munich. There was a resort. They were manufacturing airplanes, and we all worked in an airplane factory.
How do you think you survived?
Well, I was very lucky. My sister and I received a job in a office. They asked me if I know how to read and write, and I said yes. And then he said, "Where is your sister?" And I thought, well, now it's the time. He was a very mean guy, the way he asked me. And then he said, "Where is your sister?" So I told him, my sister is right over there. And I thought, well, this is the time when he wants to do something, kill us. But then he took us, we walked after him for about a mile, and he said, "Here, you will be here, and this is your job." And we were, for 9 months, sitting there in that office, just people, the soldiers and the people who worked on the airplanes came in. We gave them the plans, like they needed a plan, how to make this, or they gave us the number, and we looked on where the number is. And we worked for 9 months there.
Were you treated any differently?
No. We were just like the other girls, but we had like my other 2 sisters were working during the night, and they were working with the airplanes. They were building their airplanes. So we stayed there till about April the 12th in Freiburg, which was a lot of places where already the war was over. But they took us and put us on cattle cars again,
Tell me about
trains.
Tell me about the train with your sisters.
Well, we were, again, we were separated. I was just with one sister on the wagon.
The sister you were in the office with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were just for quite a few, the 12, till we got to Mauthausen. And in Mauthausen, it was just pitiful. It must have been close to the end of the war. When we got to Mauthausen, there were corpses all over, just laying, and it's just impossible to explain to you. Dead people were laying, one on top of the other. And it must have been close because we didn't see too many German there. And we got there during the night, and there was food. I think the Red Cross had food prepared for us. And everybody was grabbing and eating, and everybody got sick. Because we were all hungry, and I got sick too, typhoid.
How long from there? Did you go to a DP camp, or did you go to
No.
the hospital also?
My daddy always said during the war, he said, whenever we are separated, when the war was over, whoever lives through it, let's meet in the same city where we lived before the war. So we all went back, and we stayed there just about 2 months. And Henry came back, and that's when he asked me to marry him.
How soon after he came home were you two engaged?
You know, he asked me what the first day he came home. It was about 2 weeks after we got married, and it was a wedding that I'll never forget.
Why?
Just a few friends were, you know, together, and we said, well, and there was one guy that he said he can be our rabbi, and he married us. And then we went straight to.
You what?
I wasn't the rabbi.
So, and right after that, we went to Germany because we hoped to come to the United States. And we did, just a few months later. I had an uncle in New York, and
You know I asked you this indirectly a few minutes ago, and Henry shared with us probably the same thing you're going to share, but I find it just beautiful, the way that you two can communicate and recover from heal without really having to talk to each other. Just being there and the bonding, I think, is really amazing. How do you cope with the memories? What do you do when they come to you at night and during the day? How do you explain the pain to yourself?
I cry a lot.
Mm-hmm. What do you cry for most?
My family. We were a beautiful family, always together, and my parents were young people. They got killed when they were 46 years old. All we did is, we were a very happy family. We sang, and then when it started with the war, and every time somebody was missing, and I didn't see my mother or my two little sisters, and my brothers, two brothers. And I think about them a lot because they were so young and beautiful, and why it should have been that way. It's sad.
When you think about
And
your
they
family.
still don't like us. What?
When you think about your family. What do
I
you
have
think about
wonderful
them?
memories about my family. We were a happy, beautiful family. Henry met them too.
You have children?
The war messed up. Huh?
You have children?
I have 2 daughters
2 daughters.
and 3 grandchildren
And 3 grandchildren.
and wonderful kids.
You think you were able to recreate some of the magic from your own families
I think so.
for them?
I think so. Everybody tells me what wonderful kids I have. And that makes me happy.
That's wonderful. Well, Sally, I know how difficult this was for you, and I'm so glad you came out to talk to us.
Thank you.